3 stages of shadow work. Have you ever had a traumatic experience? Maybe you had fearful memories of your childhood, or you were rejected by someone whom you love. You see, all of us have fears. As a result, we do our best to repress it and hide it from ourselves. Any part of yourself that you believe is unacceptable, undesirable, or unlovable gets banished into the shadow. So what then is the shadow? Carl Jung, the famed psychologist, invented the phrase, the shadow, after seeing that there is a component of the human brain that keeps our traumatic experiences and traumas outside of our conscious awareness. So, if you have an emotional reaction to anything perceived as unpleasant, your subconscious mind feels that this is a part of you that you no longer want to see. As a result, that portion of your psyche is relegated to an energy prison in your subconscious mind, where it gradually begins to wreak havoc on your perspective of reality. The issue is that you can never truly detach yourself from any part of yourself. So, when you define any part of yourself as negative, you are the one who suffers as a result of it. Every emotion is a mental creation that holds a component of your consciousness, and anytime the creator does not want to look at a part of itself that it has produced, it polarizes that energy to the negative. As a result, each bad feeling we experience without recognizing it as a part of ourselves is banished to the shadow. This negatively polarized energy causes the source to suffer until it is able to reconcile that energy back into itself. We call this process of reintegrating negatively polarized parts of our psyche shadow work. So shadow work is not about fixing yourself, because there's never been anything wrong with you. There are no wrong feelings, since all feelings are valid. You have no influence over how you feel, since your feelings just respond to the correctness of your perception. As a result, because unpleasant emotions are messengers of truth, they must be greeted with compassion and understanding. So the next important question is, when is the most appropriate time to do shadow work? The answer is very simple: whenever you feel triggered. It's obviously appropriate to set aside time in your day for healing and introspection, but there's no better time to conduct shadow work than when you're feeling triggered. Whatever time you felt uneasy for no reason, no matter how mild or intense the sensation, it was a chance for healing. According to A Course in Miracles, only loving thoughts are authentic, and everything else is a cry for aid and healing. So whenever you experience anger, sadness, worry, or uncertainty, it is a damaged part of you begging for repair. So now that we've talked about what shadow work is and when to do it, let's talk about the 3 stages of shadow work. Number 1. The first stage of shadow work is simply awareness. The first and most important step is to become aware of your triggers, because awareness is what brings healing. So when you're triggered, instead of looking for ways to avoid feeling your pain, become completely present with it and stare it down. Begin by asking the feeling who it represents, and as you dig deeper into your pain, it will reveal the beliefs, fears, and memories that it represents. Regardless of whether you have access to the exact source of the trauma, you can begin to heal it simply by allowing yourself to feel it. You want to be able to feel the emotional reaction associated with a trauma if at all possible. The stronger the emotion, the faster the healing. If you feel a surge of terrible emotions, embrace it. Allow yourself to be shattered. Allow yourself the room to cry, scream, or burrow your face into a pillow if necessary. All suffering must be expelled from the body to spark healing. Number 2. The second stage of shadow work is forgiveness. Because forgiveness is reconciliation, all healing is an act of forgiveness. So you want to approach your suffering with compassion and understanding. Ask it to forgive you for rejecting it for so long while you're in agony. Imagine this agony as a disliked piece of yourself that has been hidden in the dark for so long, frightened to walk out into the light and be seen. When you approach it, it will hiss and bark at you, precisely like a wounded or scared animal. It considers itself to be too terrible to be viewed. That part of you needs to hear that you're sorry for disliking it and that you're ready to welcome it back into your life. By meeting that part of yourself with love on a regular basis, you will gradually entice it out of its hiding place. Love allows everything to manifest itself naturally, so you should address these aspects of your shadow in the same way. Number 3. Lastly, the third and final stage of shadow work is integration. Integration is taking a few minutes after each healing session to express a heartfelt and sincere gratitude to the pain. To perceive that aspect of yourself as something that helped you rather than damaged you is to reintegrate it into yourself. Spend a few minutes thanking your suffering for revealing a previously unknown aspect of yourself. Thank it for revealing a side of yourself that you didn't like. Thank it for teaching you a vital lesson that you would not have learned otherwise. To forgive the past is to recognize the gift it provided you and the lesson it taught you, and to recognize that it was always working for your ultimate good. Gratitude is a very strong healing energy because it expresses that you not only appreciate that aspect of yourself, but that you are also grateful for it. So integration is learning the lesson taught to you by the pain, and therefore completing the final reconciliation with that aspect of yourself. One last thing I'd like to add about shadow work is that it cannot be hurried. So you could go through a very intensive healing session, and then the ego will hurry to claim that it is entirely healed and free of that trigger. However, this is the worst thing you can do for your recovery, because you never want to approach portions of your darkness with the attitude of, "Come here and let me love you so that you leave forever." So be patient with yourself and believe in the process. You may have a lot more suppressed energy than you thought. It's taken me many months and sometimes even years to heal my biggest traumas. But the moment you become willing to look at your pain with the eyes of love, the healing process has begun. And once it begins, it cannot be reversed. Everyone is racing through life at 100 miles per hour, traveling from experience to experience without pausing to reflect. We fracture our psychological bones without giving them any thought, and as a result, we become a fragment of our true selves. So instead of waiting for life to ruin you, start working today. Because I assure you that healing will provide you with all you want. The greatest treasure that can be found is a heart that is completely at peace with itself. Make the decision now to quit ignoring and avoiding your suffering. Heal yourself and put forth the required effort to obtain real happiness. Don't even do it for the money or for any other purpose, but do it to gain actual freedom, because it is your birthright. And you cannot look to anybody or anything to save yourself. Keep in mind that your outward environment is only a reflection of your interior reality. Help us reach more individuals like you by subscribing to this channel and by liking this video. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next videos. Bye.